If you see the word or the language, be quiet, is actually in most cases a punishment.
Yes.
It restricts your being you because it does not suit someone else in their present moment to listen to you. So as a parent, they're usually quite often to get their peace.
Mm-hmm.
So the universe is always quiet. It's a bit like the Chinese philosophies of like, if you throw a stone in the lake,
Mm-hmm.
they might only see the ripples on the top of the lake, but the lake underneath is not disturbed.
This podcast is part of the GK Media Studios Creators Network, helping people tell their stories. Become a storyteller today and learn about our podcaster network at gkmediastudios.com.
So in today's episode, we have Rainer, who is a beautiful friend of mine. And for me, it's a special person because sometimes he's the one who keeps me going. And it's like my life support, really. So I'm extremely honored. I'm nervous. And I am excited. Welcome to the show, Rainer.
Thank you very much for these beautiful and kind words of you. My name is Rainer. I was born in Austria, and I have traveled a bit the world, and I ended up with the flow, or with the law of life in Ireland for now, and have a beautiful family where I always looked forward to have one if it was possible for me to have one. And how did I become me? Well, it's a bit of story of my own life exploration to define me, or my spiritual being, or my personal things I learned and gained in my life, plus also my energetic being. But I have been blessed in a way of having a stable upbringing. My parents are still married. How long? 40 years, 50 years strong. So it's quite rare these days.
Yes, I have to say that, yeah. After being through a divorce myself.
I have two siblings, Galinda and Bettina. They're my sisters. I'm the middle child, so I was the boy in between two girls, and it got me a certain advantages within the family line of how I've been looked at. I was seen as the boy or the golden boy sometimes in the family, not even been anything special, just being a male in the family. And
the boy in the family.
The boy in the family. So that brought certain grievance or jealousy from the older sibling because she wasn't allowed to do the same things when I was 2 years younger than her. And I always enjoyed being outdoors. So that was always brought within the family. My dad was a teacher. My mom was an artist, a dressmaker. She kind of like raised us. It was her full-time job, and decided she was making arts and crafts, paintings, that kind of thing, prepared for Christmas markets or Easter markets or for weekend stalls, and sold her crafts, and that was her passion. Obviously.
I know you were born and raised in Austria.
Mm-hmm.
Countryside? I never asked you that. Countryside or
in officially is the capital of the county of Austria. It's around 500,000 people in the town or city. Well-established infrastructure from trams and buses, and so everything was accessible. But at the same time, I was quite fortunate that the school was in walking distance along a river. What many stories about falling into the water or breaking the ice and falling into the ice cold water. And the area was surrounded by mountains. So within 5 minutes, there was a cornfield we could playing hide and seek, or having the river to play with, or having playgrounds in masses around us. And then the forest and the hills were also within 15 minutes walking. So it was a big city, but it was close to nature. My dad, who had only time on the weekends, was always into outdoors. So when he was off, we went off hiking, or we went to a farm stay or things like that. So as a kid, I always had the desire to pick up earthworms and put it in my pocket and save them from the puddles, and saving fledglings falling out of the nests, and trying to raise them. And
that's exactly what we are doing now, really.
Yeah, kind of thing. Going through the Austrian school system, I was one of the kids who picked up on with my late awareness in life, I was picking up on the energy from teachers and other kids. So if teachers weren't fully in the subject, their thoughts, I was more like a troublemaker, and or within the troublemakers from the class. If teachers shared their passion of the subject, I was fully aware of what's going on and got fully taking it on board. So
it took me 44 years to get there.
I'm not there yet, but I have also had my parents enrolled me into the Boy Scouts in Austria. So I had the evenings learn certain skills, and always there was camping and bonfires and all sorts of different things in Austria. We didn't do marshmallows back then. We had bread dough on a stick or sausages we grilled over the fire. There was no sticky sugar marshmallow things. But that got me into my preferred choice was actually becoming a botanical gardener.
Okay.
But there was 500 applicants for one apprenticeship for one place. I didn't get in, so what do I do then? So that was then after the secondary school here in Ireland. Age of 16, I went to hospitality and catering college, became a chef and the restaurant manager / and that got me on a bit of journey of traveling to different places in Austria, going skiing for the winter and working at the same time, that kind of thing. So I always saw the outdoor sports then as a balance from a stressful life in hospitality. So I was skiing or snowboarding or mountain biking or rock climbing or fishing or sailing, anything that was in my vanity of surroundings, what I could do. I was choosing to do a sport around that, and it kept my stress level quite low for a highly stressful job, because I didn't like the feeling of stress. I was like, it didn't sit with me well. I was coming back to my early childhood and the stories of my parents. I was a very stubborn child or headstrong child. I didn't fit into certain boxes, and yes, so I experienced stress there and then as a child to have this extreme point of view on this is obviously scientifically looked at to these days. These kids have, and I see it now in my own kids, they are very self-centered. If I ask my daughter if she wants one strawberry now, or she wants a kilo of strawberries 2 hours later, she will pick the one strawberry. There's no sense of later or conserving anything. It needs to be happening now.
It's the instant gratification, is it?
Pretty much, yeah. And so with this exploring stress and the like of distress, and also with exams or like in school testings and things like that, I was more like when there was somewhere to learn for tests, I left it always to the last minute. When I knew there was a big exam the next day, I studied till midnight, or got up in the next day in the morning, studied on the way to school or in the bus later on. And I made it through without...
Is there an advice what you could give you if you're looking at the younger version of you in relation to that decision
Oh, for
or
sure.
choice?
For sure. Like the advice would be do every day a little bit, And if you do it with your heart rather than your head, or include your heart with your learning. And do something what makes you happy or joyful, and then sit down what you have to do because you're enrolled in a school and this is your job back then to do the exams. But if you are not satisfying your heart first, then you won't be there with your head or your heart.
Okay, I'm going to interrupt the history of the history of the story, the timeline,
Yes.
and bring back, because I know for us it's very common to talk from heart, from head place, from heart place. Can you unpack that a little bit for people who are not familiar at all with, and what means to be in the heart, what means to be in the head?
I guess my first experiences within being in my heart was actually when I was in the kindergarten. And one of my kindergarten teacher was a nun, and she was very within her heart, and I felt very connected to this kindergarten teacher. And I guess the love you get from your parents is the love they received from their parents, depending on what the way they look at love, the way they look at the ownership of who is a parent and who is your child and what you have to do as a child. And after my first year in the kindergarten, she left and decided to go into a nunnery, a cloister. And I came back after summer holiday and she was not there. And I was like, wow, what happened there? This person where I could be within my heart, fully open, what I didn't experience as a small child beforehand, because obviously parents have a routine to follow, a structure to give to, and it doesn't suit you as a child quite often.
Yeah.
So there's then friction created, and then once friction creates, then you're not in your heart anymore, nor the parents, nor the child, and then there's a clash of the titans, I call it, where who has the stronger head, who has the stronger, louder voice, and so on. And luckily, there was no force. There was not enforced their point of view, so there was no violence in there.
Were you able to sense that back then? Or this is something what you can see back now because you have a different level of awareness and understanding?
Both. So now my kids are my teachers, and I see how in tune they are with their own heart, and especially the way they look at you. They just want to spend time with you. And if you are distracted with a beep on a message on the phone, or then they just get a bit louder, and they just make sure you want a bit more attention. And that's all they want of you, your full attention from your heart. And yes, so I felt it. I felt the disturbance. And as soon as you are feeling the disturbance of anger or sadness or despair, you start, and this is only on a verbal level, okay? Or even people don't even have to say something often. You know when someone is not in a good space. So you feel it, and you trying to make sense of it. And in some case, you try to comfort the person with whatever you learned to make, or whatever you learned or picked up from other people, how to sometimes you're trying to make a silly joke, or making a fool of yourself, or you're trying to give someone a hug, but this is all learned, so you don't actually know if the other person perceives this as a comforting, rather than get re-triggered, because all they want to be is left alone in that situation. So yes, I have experienced that, and obviously with it, you then, when you are going in self-protective mode, you start building up a reference system, how to protect yourself, how you not experience this heartache from this pain you perceive because you are open and someone's trying to crash it, or not trying to, because they're not in their own heart. So then you feel the pain even more.
Yes.
Yeah. And this was then for a long time big friction in between me and my dad, because I could not understand him. Like we had no connection within on a heart level. We were just two headstrong beings, and so you feel it, and you withdraw from this relationship, or you, like in my case, I moved further and further away and had less and less contact. And with this separation of myself from my roots, so from my hometown, from my friends in my hometown, from my family, I had to build new friendships and create my own, like, new tribe as per se. And then you had to trying to fit in, or trying to be fitting in, or things like that. And sometimes it works, sometimes you're going against your grain, and then it's not you, and it's kind of like people pick up on the false you, because you're trying to implement or be someone who you're actually not. And then these relationships are not flourishing. And then in my case, I was in the pursuit of happiness, of lightness, of easygoing for me. And so I left Austria. I went to different countries. I went to Jersey in England and Ireland. I traveled to New Zealand, met a partner, and all these different aspects of my life I was learning and growing with different workplace, with different relationships, with stepping out of my comfort zone of, learning English in the school for 12 years, but then traveling to a country where there's 50 different dialects. And especially in Jersey, where it's a melting pot from any English-speaking nation. And you just look at these people like they're from a different planet, because...
That was me when I came in Ireland.
So you had little understanding. In the sense of humor were very different. And my sense of humor were different. Even I remember my partner back then in the first evenings, we tried to translate jokes with like dictionary, and it was not funny. It was
it's funny now.
Funny trying to do it, but it didn't work. So all of that made me growing differently. And coming to New Zealand, I felt very different. I ended up in New Zealand. I stayed there for 10 years, but the country was very new as a country. There was, history-wise, there was only one war. And that was like the white people against the Maoris, the native in New Zealand. Like coming from Europe, there was war since...
Quite an experience there.
Whenever the history is talking about war, of invasions. So it's been in turmoil and you feel the difference of a land. It was quite peaceful, it was quiet from the...
So you were able to tune into that
difference, and this kind of settled myself, and obviously nature was balanced me. So New Zealand is beautiful country of unseen.
Why did you leave New Zealand, and what brought you to Ireland?
Well, this is a good question. Thank you. The New Zealand on a superficial level became more and more expensive. So the living costs.
We'll remember that. We'll come back to that.
the cost of living became very hard, and so the saving to see actually my family was then you were working for a year, you traveled for 5 months back home, saw your family, and then you went back to square one, trying to save again for another year. And I did not make it home every year, so sometimes there was 2 years, or sometimes there was 6 years where I didn't see the family. And time difference, my own family is my parents and my siblings. Time difference, 12 o'clock, so 12 hours. So it was very hard to actually stay in contact even by phone. And this was then with not having my own family and with not having a ground base of friends. Like most friends I made in New Zealand, there were what is called blow-ins. Like So they were from Scotland, from England, from America,
Yes, yeah.
Shetland,
not
different.
locals, like
yeah, very few. Australia, very
like
different.
us.
Pretty much, yeah. So I met some lovely New Zealanders, and I'm still in contact with some of them. And this is later in life. Was then for me, this was also exploration of like, why is it hard to integrate into a community when you don't know anyone? You understand? What restricts your flow of integration?
And that's very interesting, because for me it was very easy. I was listening to you and I was like, I didn't feel any of that. Like I felt like I'm blessed being here.
This is
in the sense of I did not miss connection with my family at all.
Yes, okay.
I felt like a liberation that I'm not there. I wasn't looking to go back.
Okay.
And I was able to hear you, and I was observing there is another alternative to my vision.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
no, it's not wrong or right.
No,
it is what it is. And I'm just able to observe, like, yeah. And it's different because people can relate to both situations and they say, oh yeah, or identify themselves. Don't.
Yeah, just to me was, I was always not introvert, but I didn't need the team sport or anything like that. I was quite often happy in my own
heart.
Yeah. So we're sticking to myself, coming to Ireland as well, coming to even smaller towns and and smaller places. I did my own thing and not going out much at all. So there was no trying to integrate through the pop culture. And the other...
Yes, I'm going to stop you there for a second because I'm very curious. I don't have an answer to that, and I'm still looking for one, I think. Why do you, and I'm not being judgmental, just to make sure that we know that. Why do you think that in Ireland people are more towards out of themselves and less towards being quiet and inside? I notice more and more that people around me are very, it's very hard for people to be quiet.
Oh. Well, if you see the word or the language, be quiet, is actually in most cases a punishment.
Yes.
It restricts your being you because it does not suit someone else in their present moment to listen to you. So as a parent, they're usually quite often to get their peace. So obviously with this quietness comes it heightens your awareness. So within my own life exploration, through life cultivation and through the Yuan QiGong I practice and the Rainer Pue, what I teach as well, quietness is, the universe is always quiet. And it's a bit like the Chinese philosophies of like, if you throw a stone in the lake, they might only see the ripples on the top of the lake, but the lake underneath is not disturbed. So this kind of, but it brings all the other things what have been suppressed to the surface. So coming back to your question, I don't think it's a phenomenon to Ireland alone. I think it's a wild world.
Yeah, I know because I'm here.
It is a way of distracting ourselves. And the distraction is quite often not even seen because we are doing things what we are perceive of to make us feel well. And this is like external stimulations of like, and this is not judging anyone who likes to go shopping or...
Yeah, we are not judging. We are
not
just
judging.
talking,
this is just my own observation of myself that, we're going shopping and then we're going...
And we are not better than anyone else.
No, we all need clothes, but do we need 5 wardrobes full of clothes? And do we need every week a new handbag, or this is like this reward system of like a buy something, I feel good. And this is not just shopping, it's food as well, it's sports as well. If there's a certain you can look at it in a way, if I don't do it and I'm not happy, if I don't do it, then it's already a certain addiction to it. And then you are, with that addiction, you're actually not within your heart, rather than you are going within to your autonomic system of how things you should do to think to makes you feel good.
Yeah.
If that's that.
Yeah. To me, it does. I hope it does to everyone else out there.
But it goes on all levels of life. It goes with relationships. It goes with family, everything. So this perception of what is seen as acceptable, what is seen as unacceptable in society. So I give you a short example. I took my kids, Freya and Robin, for a walk with my dog Bo, and we have 5 minutes walk on the street, and then we can go into the bog, and then there's, the dog is off the lead and he can run around and chase any smell, and he comes very dirty back most of the times. But he loves it, so he's happy. And so we were just on the way home, but a minute from our gate, and another dog owner with 2 dogs came across. So it is on the road, a cyclist came, another car was behind it, so I get the dog under control. And when Bo is on the lead, he always barks at other dogs. So he's going on his back hind and barks on his dog. So I'm trying to keep my kids and my dog under control. And then I was just in the moment to convey a conversation, because in most of the times it's just, once you start talking to the other dog owner, the other dogs settle. And then once they're settled, you can go both each ways and everything is relaxed. And the other dog owner was very upset, because he just said, I just said hello. Did you not hear me? Wow. And I said, excuse me, I just tried to bring my dog under control. I just said hello to you, and it was very rude. And I was very surprised by it, I must say. It rattled my cage for a moment, and I sat with it. And then he was already moving on and muttering to himself. And I just said hello and moved on my way. Okay. And I did not go into any argument or anything at that moment. I just want to make sure the dog and the kids are safe. And that was me. And it sat with me a bit. And I was like, then when I shared that with Gabriella, my partner, I was almost catching myself that I belittled the man. And I said, oh, what a poor man, how he reacted to this situation. But already with this connotation of poor, I was judging that man, not knowing what actually goes on within himself.
Yes.
And I was that myself, because I was brought up with, when you meet someone, you look them into the eyes and you greet them. And even like in Austria, it's even more like you almost shake hands, and then you move on your business. And when I moved to different countries, there other people been brought up differently, and some of the head chefs or owners or other staff members, they came in with, excuse my language, I face like thunder. And if you greeted them, they didn't greet you back, because they were already in a negative state. And that brought things up with me, but in exploring this disturbance with myself, and this was just old memories of maybe the disturbance where I felt for my dad when he had a bad day at school, when he came home and he was exhausted, and then there was 3 kids of wanting all his attention, and he didn't have it in him to give that extra sometimes, not,
Yeah.
And then there comes the disturbance again. So this is what I was talking about. Now I lost a bit of thread, but
yeah. So what came up for me was it is this it's obvious for me that this is your normal way to live life and understand what happens for you and to you and with you. Is it this possible for everyone else out there? Or is just you because you're a practitioner and you learned and all that?
It is possible for everybody. Anybody who makes the choice or sees something within themselves and they're saying, oh, I'm not happy about that. And most of us have some awareness about unhealthy habits, unhealthy eating habits or drinking or smoking on the external way, then the internal way of thought processes, behavioral patterns. And anyone who becomes aware of it and not changing it, there's a level of ignorance behind it. And that ignorance is stuck with the fear of unknown or fear not knowing how. But if you ask yourself, truly, how could I change that or make it differently, then the wisdom is within yourself. But,
so you think that we all have access to that?
We all have that access, but in many cases, we don't know how to access it. And so the QiGong system I teach and the life cultivation venture, it is teaching people incrementally, step by step, how to regain your energy. So in Chinese medicine or in QiGong sickness, where we looked at deficiency, a blockage, or stagnation of qi flow. And with practicing QiGong, you working on these energetic deficiencies. Now in medicine, they're talking about the mitochondria, the energy of the cells. And so the ancient Chinese had already an understanding of the energy flow, and the many other modalities come from the understanding of QiGong, of life cultivation, as acupuncture, reflexology, many alternative traditional Chinese therapies coming off that. And QiGong is just to one level, it can be seen as the ancient wisdom of China from the East. And the moving path, or trying to unify your whole body with your closing your eyes, going inwards, with movement, you're unifying your thought process, because you're quite focusing on how you move through space and through the exercise. If you take different exercises like running or jogging or cycling, you can do the sport, and you can still at the same time you can build a whole house and cook 3 dinners while you're cycling. So you actually, your head is somewhere and your body is somewhere else. So within the philosophy of QiGong, this is depleting your energy because you're not unified.
I mean, saying that, I know people who say that I meditate, that's my meditation, cycling or surfing, or so they are very much letting everything behind and going with the flow. I heard that.
Yes.
I can't put exactly the finger that they're doing that. I can guarantee that but to the level of what I could perceive from them was they are doing kind of disconnection from the world and going inside and connecting to.
This is a very good point, that sport is, there's enough scientific research, sport is good on all levels of the body, the psyche, the feel-good aspect of all the different hormones. And so it will take you out of the disturbance on your daily base. But this is like putting a plaster on a wound.
Yeah, okay.
So it's
obvious.
You can't, but not many people are able to surf all day long to not getting distracted. And this is the beauty of the system I learned from a beautiful teacher called Yuan Te, and it's now international community. There's teachers there's a European teacher community, there's America, New Zealand, Australia, everywhere, like all over the world now. Teachers
it's available.
It's available online. It's if you say you're not in the vicinity of a personal teacher, there's 2 weekly practices online there for free, that kind of scenario. So there's many possibilities to change your life, but the the present moment. Say for example, say cycling. A cyclist will know the moment when he's unified within the elements of the bicycle, the body, and the wind, and they will feel very good.
Mm-hmm.
But how long can he sustain this feel good? Do you understand?
Yeah.
How long can he be in this present moment of calmness? Because it comes with a certain calmness, and I have experienced it with mountain biking or with rock climbing and with other sports, windsurfing. When you are within the element and everything flows, and you just almost feel like the time is standing still. And then you finish that sport, and then you go into the grocery shop, and then the first person you meet disturbs you because whatever. And then you go home, and then you're ready. So all your flow and your happiness is gone with that present moment after you finish the sport. And this is what a QiGong is like. It is complementary to all the sports. You understand?
Yeah.
It is complementary to all kind of lifestyle choices of fitness or even other style of meditation. But many of them not looking into the efforts of the heart qualities that need to be present, and then the patterns of the consciousness.
So what I hear you saying is that you are able to have a continued momentum of being in your heart. Okay, by cultivating that.
By cultivating that, yeah.
Can you detail a little bit?
Okay,
about
so
that? Because I guess for majority of people it's something, oh wow, what he's talking about or what she's talking about.
Okay, so at the beginning you're trying to, with movements, to become into a state, as I said, with surfing or cycling, where you feel this kind of unification of your mind and your moving, and this gives you a sense of a oneness, kind of like a connection in one way. And the more you feel this connection, it's a bit like we all know how we feel when we get hugged by a loved one, or when a baby looks at you, or kids, or anything like this feel-good elements. This will bring this QiGong exercises, bring with you. Okay, you are so then, and the more you practice, and the practice is designed that it doesn't take the whole day. It's just 20 minutes. 40 minutes, that kind of thing, depending on how much time you have. And the more you experience that, the more you want of this peace and quietness. And then this was for me one of the reasons that my mind became quieter and quieter. My mind was always thinking of processing situations, and with other within work or other situations, was that the right answer? Was it that, did I react as right? You know, could have done it better? All of this mumble jumble in the head. And I guess this is one part of the my journey, because eventually I came to a level where, and I don't know exactly how and what happened, but from one day I just pondered around walking in town on the way for a coffee, and I saw a flyer, and there was like Tai Chi classes. Sign up 10-week Tai Chi classes, and I was like, started practicing Tai Chi instead of going mountain biking all the time and things like that. And I was like, wow, this is what it feels actually when you conserve your energy rather than depleting it, and then you need to refuel it with food, and then you depleting it again, and then you understand. So you're on this yo-yo effect, and then with this choice of going to Tai Chi, like it was one thing. I was always this kid fascinated by martial art movies, like this kung fu movies, and this extraordinary abilities of moving and kicking, and it was fascinating, but I was not interested in training in karate or what was in my hometown, jiu-jitsu, or other martial arts available, because of the violence. The aspect
and a lot of children are put off, like I was listening to you and I saw my own son, Lucas, in exactly in what you described. And I could not make him to play any rough sports.
Yes, the ability to train within martial arts. Some of them are only play fighting. Some of them are actually going there to beat each other up. So it is not every school is the same. Like I came across Aikido, and it's quite peaceful practice too, with moving energy or moving chi. But again, it was like, with later looking into my own life, is like, why do I need to learn to defend myself? What do I have within myself to trigger someone else to have the sense of I need to defending myself? And what part of myself do I have attachment to life, or taking entitlement to my own body to make sure I'm safe? Right. With this own exploration, the law of human nature obviously need to be looked at. What is the survival of instincts? What is the survival of social integration? What is the above the social needs to be fulfilled and looked into? And all of that, if they're not all of them looked into it, then you're not fulfilled. It doesn't matter what you do.
What would you say to someone who is coming to you with a health anxiety, or
with anxiety?
Health anxiety?
Health anxiety.
Because that health anxiety usually is driven by fear of death.
Yes. Well, in many levels, it is starting with feeling stiff, then feeling in pain, and then you go looking for a therapist. So you going to the doctor to get out of the pain. And then someone might advise you to do some stretching on some
I mean, let me tell you myself, okay? So back in I grew up with like my grandmother, who was one of my main carer figures. Like she was having health anxiety. I'm able now to see what she was like. Everything was big around. I don't want to get sick. I don't want to die. I'm afraid of dying, and all, to a bit of big drama kind of thing.
Yes.
Okay, I left that behind, but it came to me. So I was back in 2021, and I was having a urinary tract infection. I had antibiotics, whatever. I was in bed most of 2 weeks or whatever. And then I went for a walk, and I had a cheap t-shirt, and nothing wrong with cheap t-shirt, but was a bad quality paint on the t-shirt, was a navy. I went for a walk, and I was pretty summery day in Ireland, sun, and I came home and I went to have a shower, and I took the t-shirt and I saw like bruises on my chest, breast, and oh my God. So in 2 seconds, I think didn't take much, I was dying from having cancer or whatever it was like. And I was panicking, ringing my best friend, ringing another friend from England. I didn't know who to ring, saying that I developed vascular disease and I'm going to die. Until I came out from shower and it was the pain gone because I showered myself. Okay, so now I slowed down and I was able to laugh. But I realized that there is a health anxiety, like what I call myself a health anxiety, a fear of I'm going to die.
Yes.
I mean, now I don't have that, thankfully. I'm much more relaxed and I'm able to enjoy life. And if I die in the next moment, I'm okay. That means it's done. I'm done here.
Yes.
Yeah. But a lot of people are afraid of that.
Yes. And this is a very big topic. I don't know how many...
touch on the surface. It came up. So if it came up, it came up.
So as you said correctly, it's the fear and the panic and the anxiety and worries you had within that moment that you saw something was wrong. out of all of a sudden the blue breasts. Okay, and this is quite normal. Okay, this is something.
Thanks, you make me to feel better.
Something hits you from surprise. Okay, this is the learned behavior to react, to preserve ourselves, is within our human nature. It's like, this is what we need to survive. Okay, in your case, it was like, oh my God, I'm sick. Now what do I need to do? You were looking for comfort, support. You understand? You use different words. You were panicking and all sorts of things, but on a level, you were looking for someone to take you out of that stress situation, and to reasoning, you understand, to support you in a way that, like, okay, now I take a breath. Okay, what do I do? Do I call a helpline? Do I call, you understand? Call a doctor or other ways of choice. And to overcome this fear, it's only in a way if you are living your day as it would be every day is your best day. In trying to what you do to do it to the benefit yourself and society. And then with having no regrets of your present moment.
Yes, I understand that, but what I'm seeing around me is people are avoiding the topic and they are putting under the rug and let's don't talk about that. It's something like, and they are driven, what they are feeling, they are driven by that fear, but they don't want to talk about it because it's like if they're talking about it, they call like that. I guess I dare to make a supposition there. I guess that they feel like if they are starting talking about the death will come, or they bring the moment faster.
Yes.
And I don't know, is there a message what comes for those people? If there is not, that's fine too.
The message would be more of observing your fears and trying to change them or look them at differently angles. And anxiety is something. Fear, anxiety, something is very important to feel and to look at professional help. Okay. Or even just to speak up, the helplines in all the different methods for whatever different circumstances. And this is a very good thing. But if it's on a low level where you don't need a professional help and support or medication in some extreme cases, nutrition can make a difference. Okay, having the right food, because then with having the right food, your body is nourished, and then your brain has the right nutrients, so the right energy is in the head. Okay, the other thing is being grounded. Go take your shoes off, even if it's cold. 6 minutes, bare feet on the ground, then warm your feet up again. Just get connection with the grass, with the earth, hug a tree, that kind of thing. Cuddle someone. Yeah, you understand? Something that makes you feel good to get you out of this continuous pattern. Now, we have to differentiate between having a continuous fear and all our actions are driven by ignoring that fear, or we having, like you had, this present scare moment and then trying to find solutions quickly to get it out of changing our situation. So this is very different. And with this consistent negativity or downward spiraling thought process of fear or not speaking into the realm, and the coming back to original explanation of the energy flow, of chi flow, there will be stagnation, and with stagnation will become sickness. So, and they will pull you down, it will wear you out, and you're not happy within yourself. So you have a choice between trying to overcome your fear and speak up or speak into it. And this is the important thing. If it wears you down and you consider it might be not the best thing for other people, then it's not helpful for anyone. Because you're not speaking your own truth, and the other people don't actually know what's going on within you, but they only feel that you're slowly degrading into this dark rabbit hole with not knowing. So trying to speak your truth, but speak it from your heart, not the I am entitled, I need, that kind of thing. This is not helpful for anyone, because as soon as you do that, you trigger other people, and you will not find a solution for the situation. Rather than talking from a sense of like, I feel, where in the Irish language they would use sadness came up on me. So they are not even identifying with that emotional distress within the body, rather than it just a temporary awareness or a feeling. And this is where other people talk, like Eckhart Tolle and loads of spiritual speakers talking about this importance of not identifying with these negative feelings. Yes. And then the next step is like, once you spoke your truth, be satisfied with it. Don't question it. If you understand, and if you take a piece of paper, right?
I think it's easier to be said than to be done for a lot of people.
Yes, but it's all practice. You understand? And this is the practice part of like doing something what you enjoy doing. Doesn't matter if it's gardening or going out with a friend or going shopping, something, but you have a certain awareness what it feels like, even if it's temporary in some situations. But with your trying to stay within this sensation of feel good, and the more you are within this presence of feel good, the more your awareness will rise, and the more your awareness will rise, then the more trigger situations will happen around you to teach you more and more of what to let go of, what you need to work on. And I think this is the staying true to yourself and
the approach.
Yeah.
What is your modality to work? What way do you approach people when they're coming to you?
So my business name I changed recently to Infinity Alignment. Infinity stands for calm, relaxed, ongoing, round, that kind of idea. And so I use two different modalities in the clinic. One of them is Amatsu, is a Japanese style osteopathy, physiotherapy. It works on the whole body. The touch is in general very gentle. The understanding of the human body within that Amatsu is 5,000-6,000 years old around Japan. It just made its way to Ireland and England. So I'm very blessed to came across that. And so this is working on a physical level with people who come with physical pain to me, says sport injuries or other pain, anything from disturbance on the nervous system. It can be all, to some extent, explained physically, the pain they experience. If the change within the physical therapy is not permanent, then there will be other modalities, what I did with the QiGong teacher training, where you then work on the level of energy, of qi healing, or bioenergy, what I call these days. In the QiGong system I teach is called Qi therapy. It's heart-mind therapy. And you are trying to unify people and get them in a good state, and trying to bring them into the present moment and see the parts where it distracts them from their state into a healthy state. And the other modalities, then this is then the venture, the life philosophy teachings, where then you come across of like identifying what heart quality is missing in the person. Has the person loads of self-doubt?
What are the heart qualities?
So in essential heart qualities are trust, openness, love, gratitude. And Gongqing, what means like respect and humility. And if they are not present, we are in our head, and our head is mainly made out of patterns, a reference system of how to react, how to be, who am I, what are,
it's what we call subconscious mind, is it?
Yes, okay, to a certain extent, yeah. Only most of the time. Some research is saying we only be 5% of your daily awareness within our awareness. And
we relate to that,
And everything else is done automated.
Yes,
you don't think...
Save energy, really.
To save energy, yes. Yeah. So the practice called, and what I teach people is called Ling Yan, and you would look at patterns of the consciousness. Like, for example, fixed expectations, or greediness, or taking things for granted, or seeing everything in an absolute way.
Yes.
Polarized thinking, overgeneralization, all of these patterns are linked with...
Which most of us, we are not aware of them.
We're not aware of it, but it becomes more and more...
we are aware of their effects.
Yes.
We act in different way, all the time the same way, but we are not aware that there is a pattern based on a subconscious programming.
No, we are not, in most cases we aren't. And the programming comes from your surroundings, like your society you grew up in, your parents you grew up with, or the foster homes, or wherever who brought you up. Within your own life experience from pre-birth, like in around 7 to 7 years, this is the main shaping of your brain and brain cortex and everything. And this is how you react and behave, even as an adult. And this is the interesting aspect of how to look at, and it's almost funny because if you look at yourself in situations and you see your 3-year-old behaving right now, or you behave like a 7-year-old, you have to laugh about it because it's just learned. And if you start laughing about yourself and you become aware to see this. If you're more in a happy place, you can actually work much quicker on this disturbance, because it may sound like doom and gloom and working on rewriting your own ancestral way of thinking and behaving, what can be like looking like doom and gloom. But if it's made safe and incremental, working on, you can incrementally go deeper and deeper, then there's nothing to fear about. Except
I love that about people in Ireland. That's so fun. It's funny. It feels good to take the piss.
Yes.
Yeah. I love that. Because it relaxes and helps to, and then you can step, okay, we can have fun and then still work on it.
Yes.
It makes it easier.
Yes.
Not everything has to be so serious and dramatic.
No, there's nothing serious about life.
Yeah.
There is.
Why is it not?
Well, you have to make choices. But then the choices you make hopefully come from your heart, and you make the right choices. If you make the choices out of a fear set scenario, like you don't have enough, you need more, all of this, then your choice might not be the right one.
We are closing a circle there because I put a note from what you're saying. What you were saying at the beginning, superficial level was too expensive. You said about the life in New Zealand.
Yes.
And you just said about the joy of the life, and that brought me to so many people being stressed and upset and going with heads down and physically like blocking the energy, the flow of life in their bodies, because they see lack and they perceive lack as a danger. What is your approach on that?
Trying to find people who are happy within themselves. Okay. And not trying to find people who have the same thing.
But it's so hard. the life is expensive. We lack housing.
Yes.
It's extremely hard what you're saying.
Do we really lack in housings? How many houses do you need as a family? Do you need one here, one there, and one
So
everywhere.
what is enough?
One should be enough.
Yeah.
So who like on a big scale, who created this crisis? Like who we want to point fingers at?
The government.
Of course, it's easy to blame the government, but do we still enjoy our holiday home here and the other house there and maybe another house somewhere in Spain, and then still blame the government? And this is nothing for people who have belongings. You understand?
Yeah, I meant to say, what's wrong with that? I'm playing the devil advocate here.
If you think, okay, like the food is so expensive, maybe look at the food what you're eating, and maybe come to a solution: can I grow my own food, or can I rent a little piece of a farmer, like 50 square meters or whatever, and start planting my own spuds and cabbages, and have a bit of grounding with it?
Do you think because we are stressed, and when we are stressed, we can't see the possibilities? Our mind gets narrowed, vision gets...
To a certain extent, yes.
Okay.
Because if you're stressed, we are in a fight and flight situation, okay? Fight, flight, or freeze. And we're losing the content of the bigger picture, what's the possibilities. And what is a possibility? A possibility is a community. And if you say, even if you take a little piece of paper and you write down, I'm stressed about the food I'm eating and I would like to change something. Who is in the same boat? And can we come up together as a solution? Can we do a community gardening, community discount? Can we,
I love that.
So if you know addressing your stress, then the stress will eat you up because you are trying to deal with it yourself. Or if you are innovative enough, you come up with solutions yourself. But it's because we are human beings who are working better as a community, the more like-minded people you have around you, the easier it will get.
Yeah.
And then you can share and swap.
And to be fair and to be honest, in Ireland, communities are amazing.
They are. And they're supporting and helping each other. And same was in New Zealand. I was seeing some incredible way of...
I never saw that in Romania. And that was one thing what kept me here. The power and the love and the positiveness coming from the local community.
Yes. Yeah. Hurling is one good example.
Yeah, exactly.
What it brings people together in community. But so look at your stress. What stresses you? Is it your inability to look at what you're eating? Is it your inability to perceive you're stuck in this moment and you have to buy convenient food or pre-made food because you don't have the time, because you need to watch TV or you understand, or need to follow a game. So maybe sit down and take a piece of paper and say, okay, how much time you spend from getting up for breakfast and so on. How much time you spend driving, how much time. And now, luckily, a certain situation brought on us that many people can work from home. So there is actually not the necessity to commute that much anymore, to find work, to find money to feed you. And with the technology arising, there will be more and more entrepreneurs from home trying to make all sorts of different ideas to come flourish and make a living of it. So this is a positive aspect of technology, because it does not everybody goes into a factory and stands there.
Yes, yeah.
It kind of disappears more and more, and everybody can, more on an individual level, can be more creative and more free to their own level and own experience. Yeah.
Can you give me one example of your healing, like what you saw, what amazed you the most from your practice? Working with the clients. So what you saw.
What I get on feedback from the clients.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes even in class when I just...
Or was a surprise even for you, something like that? Like, did you come across with a situation where you were mind blown?
every day.
Okay.
I have never lost the inspiration or the awareness of life. This is like, and this is the way of looking at the glass half empty or half full. If you see the beauty in many things, then you are surrounded by beauty. And this is coming back to the hard qualities. If you just pick one of them and work on it to a level of the microphone in front of me. How many thousand people have fed their family because of this one microphone in front of me? And can I take that for granted, or can I be grateful looking at it and speaking to you, and hopefully help some other people with the understanding of, well, you can change, and it shouldn't be scary. Yeah. Change is everything is changing constantly. There's nothing fixed. There's no absolute. There's
fixed.
There's nothing fixed. Nothing is stagnant in the universe. Everything is constantly flowing. This is, the moon has a cycle. The earth, the plants, everything is just coming and going. So this is also the law of life. We have a certain, even if we're trying to, scientists trying the hardest to make us live longer and, prevail the sign of death. But it's the body this is just natural.
Natural, yeah.
It is. So are you afraid of a banana? That is natural, but to some extent, probably been tinkered and worked with many people to make it look like a banana. Yeah. A natural banana doesn't look like what we see in supermarkets anymore, but it wasn't. But if you're looking in all the fears you have around you in a more open sense, if you're open, really looking at that, in most cases it's actually you can rationalize it. But in many cases you have experienced something very sad because you had not the right understanding of, someone has not taught you the right, the more like the whole picture around it, and with not having the whole understanding of the universe and everything around you, you are in a like, oh, mine and my family, or I need to protect that, and this kind of scenario. But everything will flow much easier. Like talking about flow in life, like when I left Austria, I chose my aunt's wedding to tell my parents that I'm leaving home. It wasn't very good flow. But it was, for me, that was the only time I had the courage to actually tell them I will leave home. Possible for good, forever. Right. But with making this choice, I kind of packed 4 or 5 times all my belongings into a backpack, left a different country, started from new, left again, started from new. So in one way, making these choices, I have lost the sense of entitlement, what needs to be around me to make me feel good. So my aspect of feel good became smaller and smaller. So then I was sharing to people, I'm like a pot plant. So as long as I have a bit of food and some water, you can move me, and sunlight, you can move me here, I thrive. You can move me there, you thrive. They have a bit of connection and a bit of food. And, this was back in the days when I didn't came across Renju, or where I didn't have the understanding, but I understood enough to make sure that I'm minding myself without being selfish.
Yes.
Yeah. To be aware of like what makes me feel good. This I pursue.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was with me for a long time.
Very good. Where people can find you?
I have a little website that start with www.rainerpue.com. Sorry.
Okay.
.com. My phone number, people can call me on the 0852-896636.
We'll put that in the description.
Yeah,
sure that is there.
There's Facebook, and there's a bit of inactive Instagram page too. I have a few flyers here and there, but
And your physical practice is in
Ennis.
Ennis.
In Ennis on Monday to Thursday, and I work on Fridays in Tura at this moment.
Okay. So before we wrap up, can you shoot me with a question? If you want.
Shoot you with the question. What have you gained out of this interview?
Wow. One thing what I never heard before, and my mind didn't comprehend before, that possibility is community. I kind of knew and I heard from you so many times, and I was familiar with everything else, but this was a new information for me.
Okay.
And yes, that's what I take home.
Yeah. And then
from it.
The word community means connecting with like-minded people.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you're into it.
To me, was like, where is community is possibility.
Yes.
And when you feel, okay, you can see on your own, expand.
Yes. And
that's what I got. Okay,
yeah.
That I heard.
And on a rational level, this is the more than social needs. You need to be integrated.
Yeah.
You need to be respected. All of that to be fulfilled. So obviously, as a human being, we need to be heard. We need to be respected to some way, to some understanding of level. And this is what makes communities.
And probably community is an expression of collective, the universe and the nature and
all of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in New Zealand,
we are part of something bigger.
Yeah, in New Zealand there was many different communities who built houses together. Like there's a community outside Arnina, what's they called?
I think there are a few.
There are a few around the island, but they have like built houses together on a plot of land and trying to make living together in a sensible way. And
exchange.
And this is like
the old way.
What it used to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Where there was small towns, and the small town was the community. Like you knew most of your neighbors, you knew your family were extended, and you were swapped around, and you might my kids here and that kind of thing. So this is a community, or a family can be a community. And
totally. Yeah.
And we can learn of everybody. Everybody's a teacher. Everybody can share, and even the person who is miserable could be a teacher. Because
for me was like, I think my child, so our kids are the biggest and the strongest teachers if you are able to see and willing to see.
Yes, I'm very blessed this way.
Yeah.
To have raised my awareness and my ability to observe the familiar dynamic within my own house with my kids and my partner and the grandma as my partner's mother, to observe the dynamic. And the more you are in your heart, the more you feel the dynamic and you feel the disturbance, and you are then it's like, okay, where's the disturbance coming from? Is it mine? Is it the child's? What has not been addressed? What has been looked into it? It is a interesting and fascinating life exploration. And this is how what life should be.
For your beautiful wisdom and sharing with the world out there. And I can't wait to have you again, because I know that will happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me. And